You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skyler. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
This is probably one of the most iconic moments in television history. Even if you've never seen Breaking Bad, the chances are you have seen this scene, and there's a good reason for that. For many people, this is the moment Walter White truly becomes that legendary Heisenberg.
You're goddamn right.
But what's really brilliant about this scene, and what a lot of people miss, is that behind the seemingly badass speech, there's actually a deeper sense of insecurity. Especially when you consider the context. The scene is shocking and how well written it is.
What?
Because as you might remember, this scene takes place right after one of Walter's most vulnerable moments, when he was closer to death than ever before. Just a few episodes earlier, Gus had basically done with him and even ordered Mike to kill him. But Walter, in a desperate move to save himself, ended up killing Gale, the cook Gus was grooming to take his place. So not long after that, we get this scene where Skyler confronts him about Gale's murder. But instead of thinking Walter did it, she was actually worrying that he might be in the same kind of danger Gale was in.
Who killed him? Was it the people you work for? Was it somebody who, at some point, might want to do the same to you?
So in such a situation, Walter tries to reclaim everything he was about to lose by putting on a performance that reveals a side of himself Skyler has never seen before. But the thing is, it's not just for her, it's also for himself, to convince himself that Heisenberg is still in charge, that he's not the same guy who trembled in front of Gus Fring, and that's what makes the scene so brilliant. Because the first time you watch it, you almost believe him, just like Skyler does. But if you take a closer look, you can see it. Deep down, he's still that same overlooked, insecure man from season 1. And actually, the scene starts dropping hints about that from the very beginning.
I think I know what happened. You told Hank that the man he was looking for might still be out there, that it might not be this Bedecker after all. And I was up all night wondering why you would say that to him.
The thing is, it's not a coincidence that Skyler starts by talking about what Walter said the night before, because those words were actually the first sparks that set off Walter's legendary speech. If you remember that night, Walter just couldn't stand hearing Hank go on and on about how great Gale was. His ego got the best of him for a second, and even though it was risky, he couldn't help but dropping a hint that there was someone way smarter behind all the cooking, basically pointing out himself.
This guy, Gale Bedecker, he was a genius, plain and simple.
Genius? Not so much. Looks like nothing more than just simple rote copying, probably of someone else's work. Genius of yours. Maybe he's still out there.
Now, before we continue with the video, I just want to talk about one of the most epic gaming collaborations that brings you back to your childhood memories: Raid Shadow Legends and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In their latest exciting update, Raid has partnered with Paramount to take you back to your childhood, bringing some of the most beloved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters into the game as legendary champions. Now you can collect Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, April, and even Shredder as legendary champions. Having them in the game instantly takes me back to the days of watching their adventures and having fun with my brother, and again, I get to relive those moments through Raid Shadow Legends. So, you can start your collection with Michelangelo, the wittiest turtle. All you need to do is log in for 7 days, starting August 21st, to unlock this champion who spreads debuffs, taunts enemies with trash talk, and dodges their attacks. Plus, you can fuse Donatello, the smartest turtle who serves as a support by healing allies and reducing cooldowns. On top of that, you can summon the rest of the turtles, along with April and Shredder, through limited time events. You can even challenge Shredder in the event dungeon for a chance to earn the exclusive Chrono Page gear set. So use my link in the description or scan the QR code to claim exclusive bonuses. You'll immediately receive a huge starter pack with the epic champion Tayrel from the High Elves faction. Then after reaching level 15, you'll get another starter pack with epic Rector Drath. And lastly, you can use one of the promo codes on the screen to get another legendary champion of your choice. Now let's get back to the video. And that's what this whole scene comes down to: Walter's burning need to prove that he's better than everyone thinks he is. I mean, think about it. He's been stuck in the same frustrating cycle ever since his gray matter days, feeling like he never got the credit he truly deserved in any part of his life. And now, once again, he's in someone else's shadow, not getting the recognition he craves. And to make it even worse, especially after everything he's done, his wife still sees him as this harmless suburban dad, the guy who's more likely to embarrass himself than mastermind anything significant. And that just stings him even more.
Well, I think you're scared. I think last night was a cry for help.
Oh, Jesus. Cry for help.
I think some part of you wants Hank to catch you.
That is it. Exactly, yes!
If he caught you, at least this would all be over.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tremendous weight just lifted off of me.
You see, that's exactly why Walter lashes out so harshly here. From Skyler's perspective, though, she kind of has a point, at least from where she's standing. Because as someone on the outside looking in, she's just trying to make sense of her husband based on whatever scraps of information Walter allows her to see. But the problem is the pieces are always missing, so naturally she fills in the blanks with the version of Walter she thinks she knows. At this point, the scene goes beyond just a glimpse into Walter's vulnerability, and it becomes a perfect snapshot of their entire relationship. Because as you see, Walter's doing the exact same thing he's always done throughout the show. He's keeping Skyler in the dark. He either gives her these vague answers when she asks direct questions,
I seriously doubt it.
or he just shuts the whole conversation down before it can even start.
I don't want to talk about any of this, ever.
And that actually brings us back to the moment I mentioned earlier, the point where Walter is at his most vulnerable. Because deep down, with all the questions Skyler keeps throwing at him, what he really feels is that same weak man who stared death in the face, begged Mike for his life, and trembled in front of Gus Fring. Going back to those fragile moments, and even to admit he is still in danger, would completely shatter the untouchable Heisenberg image he's trying to build. But Skyler doesn't just stop there. This time, she doesn't just remind him of how powerless he was against Gus. She also drags him all the way back to where it really began, who he really was. And that's the thing that finally gets under Walter's skin.
If you are in danger, we go to the police.
No, I don't want to hear about the police.
I do not say that lightly. But if it's the only real choice we have, if it's either that or you getting shot when you open your front
don't
door,
want to hear about the
you're
police.
not some hardened criminal, Walt. You are in over your head. That's the truth.
That is not the truth.
School teacher, cancer, desperate for money.
Okay, we're done here.
Roped into working for, unable to even quit. Walt, please, let's both of us stop trying to justify this whole thing and admit you're in danger.
Now I've got to pause here for a second because there's something I really want you to catch, the symbolic shift in Walter's outfit. Just watch him closely. He takes off his red shirt and underneath there is this darker tone. It isn't just a random detail, it's a visual cue that the darker side of him is stepping into the light. Up until now, we, the viewers, have seen this side of him many times. But now, for the first time, he's showing it to Skyler. And from this point on, the man standing in front of her isn't Walter anymore. It's Heisenberg, or at least that's what we're meant to believe. And what comes next is easily one of the most iconic moments in television history.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Do you know what would happen if I suddenly decided to stop going into work? A business big enough that it could be listed on the NASDAQ goes belly up. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skyler. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
I mean, wow, what a performance. No wonder Bryan Cranston won 4 Emmys for this role. His acting here is absolutely magnetic. Just look at him, the intensity, the way he carries himself, or that terrifying confidence. It's also convincing that even we start believing in Walter too. And funnily enough, both the show's creator Vince Gilligan and Bryan Cranston himself have said pretty much the same thing about this performance.
The way you play it, you're like, yeah, I believe this guy, he's a badass. But in the context of the moment, you're at one of your lowest ebbs because Gustavo Fring has just got you
It
over.
had to come out of that sense of insecurity that he had at that moment.
Yeah.
You see, this is where the scene's real brilliance, that manipulative edge I've been hinting at all along, finally shows itself. I mean, yes, on the surface it might seem like Walter is unleashing Heisenberg to face off with Skyler, but underneath it's still the same Walter speaking, and actually you can hear it right away. Because the first thing coming out of his mouth isn't about her or the situation, it's about himself, the money he's made, the power he has, and just how important he is. But Skyler didn't ask about any of that in the first place. She just asked if he was safe. But Walter completely ignores her and turns her questions into a stage for his own power play. And don't get mistaken, those words aren't just for her. They're everything he's been desperate to say to Hank the night before, to everyone who's ever underestimated him. And if you really think about it, he actually pulled a similar move in another scene people also love to call badass.
You produce a meth that's 70% pure, if you're lucky. Yours is just some tepid, off-brand, generic cola.
What I'm making is classic Coke.
So when you put all these pieces together, it doesn't really sound like the confident words of a powerful man at all. It's more like the roar of someone who's been ignored for years and is finally getting noticed, finally stepping into the spotlight. Because the real power doesn't have to announce itself, especially not like that. Just as one of my favorite fictional characters, Tywin Lannister, says,
"Any man who must say, 'I am the king,' is no true king."
And actually, Breaking Bad gives us the perfect example of what real power looks like. And that example is Gus Fring, who in many ways is the complete opposite of Walter White.
I don't think we're alike at all, Mr. White.
I mean, think about it. Throughout the show, not once do we hear Gus making grand declarations the way Walter does, because Gus's power lies in his silence and in the unshakable control behind his every calculated move. On the other hand, Walter always has to prove himself. He grabs every opportunity to show off, or like in this scene, cover up his insecurities by turning them into power plays. In a way, it's a kind of gaslighting, not just aimed at Skyler or even the audience, but most of all, at himself. But still, at the end of the scene, Walter gets exactly what he wants. He makes Skyler believe him. And from that moment on, everything changes for her. She's no longer looking at the man she married. Instead, she's staring at this stranger who's become something she never could have imagined. For her, it's obvious now. Walter is the one who killed Gale. But only we, the viewers, know the full story. And it's a lot more complicated than the version Walter's trying to sell her. Because just like Skyler hinted at, he didn't have Gale killed because he was some hardened criminal. He did it because he was cornered and he had no other choice. In fact, he wasn't even the one who knocks or pulled the trigger. And then, right at the very end, we actually see it. Just a flicker of hesitation in Walter's eyes. Barely a second, but it's enough. It's like he still has so much to say, but suddenly realizes he lost his control. In that outburst, it finally hits him. It's too late. Every word he just spat out is already in Skyler's head, already feeding the fear and already changing something between them forever. But of course, Skyler doesn't catch any of this. She's still frozen, mouth slightly open and staring at this man who calls himself Heisenberg. But that's the question, isn't it? Who is Heisenberg really? Is he Walter White's alter ego? Or is he the man he wishes he could be? I mean, you could argue it either way, and honestly, there's probably no easy answer. But one thing is clear. All those moral lines crossed, all those irreversible choices, Heisenberg didn't make them. He wasn't the one who cooked that very first batch. He wasn't the man who poisoned a child. He wasn't the man who killed Gus Fring. It was Walter White. It was always Walter White. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a comment, give a like, and click to subscribe. Your support will greatly help the mysterious algorithm notice me. And if you want to support me directly, you can join the channel by clicking the join button. See you next time.